Institute of Company Secretary, a CS member, started off as an academician, doing research right now into working with European Stock Exchange, have written a lot of academics books, now has come up with his own novel. He is a fitness freak, a photographer, event organizers, and there are so many things to come. So we welcome you, Dev, and we are thankful
Thank
for
you very much.
you being here. And instead of me telling, I would like to know from you what were your 15 years of journey like, and how you started off as a CS and then how you grew to this profile, to this role.
Well, thanks very much for inviting. Very good morning and quite an early morning in India, I believe. so, it's been so of course the difficult and I would say impeccable journey for everybody. Uh, all of those who are actually professionals. Now, since you already know, as a company secretary, I started my journey as associate company secretary back in Amritsar. I was doing a small job, associate company secretary, and then you get promoted, you become a company secretary, and so and so. But that 9 to 5 job wasn't for me. I just figured out. I mean, it's not about for everybody, it's just about me. So I moved back to Delhi and I started teaching in different institutes, like coaching institutes, teaching among CA students and company secretaries and chartered accountants, also giving some visiting lectures in different universities as well. Then I met one of the highly renowned professional in our fraternity, Mr. Manish Gupta, and who is a very renowned person in ICSI. Under his guidance, I started giving multiple seminars in ICSI and IRC chapter and also in Gurgaon. Now, with this, I started most of my journey actually giving SIPs, and I delivered more than 50 seminars, including SIPs, EDPs, and other than that as well, on different topics of personality development, cyber laws, and how to crack the interviews, blah, blah. Now, from there, I just figured out that this is actually for me, and this is about the public appearances, because I don't want to always to do my job sitting behind the desk. So I stood up there and decided to open up my own institute. And just the moment of time I started my own practice, I decided to move to Czech Republic. Now, Czech Republic didn't came up to my mind just with a out of the blue. It was already in my mind because company secretary is a highly qualified degree, and most of the universities actually, if you look into icsi.edu, most of the universities they provide PhD if you want to go for a PhD after doing the company secretary course. I believe most of you already know this. So I thought, okay, let's go for a PhD after 3 years qualification. But I don't want to go for the PhD in India. I wanted to go for PhD outside India, which was actually a difficult task for me. So I converted most of my classes into the online teaching so that my student doesn't suffer when I move out of India. And now I record those lectures on different websites and different portals and update to my students as well. Now, during this journey, of course, I published different books, but those books were academic books, company law, industrial labor law, and other books relating with the company secretary courses and chartered accountants as well. But I don't call them as publishing because I was just talking to you a few minutes ago that those books were academic books. I mean, you just copy paste from the basic. I mean, not only me. I mean, most of the faculties they do that. You just put on your additional things into between. Other than those, if you're not doing some extraordinary inputs inside the book, and that's why most of the law books are not copyright unless you put your own instinct inside the books, because these are mostly bearers. If you're a tax expert or if you're a FEMA expert, that's a different case because you have to put your own FAQs inside it as well. But if you're teaching only company law, it's just a bearing. So obviously that's not copyright. And that's why I don't call them publishing because it's not my hard work. So I moved out of India and I started pursuing my PhD from Charles University back there in Prague. I was sitting here in Prague like most of like 4 years, I believe. And that's how the overall journey of my company secretary course started. And meanwhile, I qualified with the double master's diploma in cyber laws, as you can read on my profile. And step by step, I'm flourishing with this because my overall experience and interest into academic teachings and publishing and giving lectures and doing the research on management and economics. That's what I'm doing right now.
Economics, right?
Yeah.
From CS law to economics. So you decided to do your PhD in economics?
Yeah, it's a combo of both because in Europe actually you can do a PhD in a combo of two subjects, economics and management. For example, if you're doing in science, let's say, so you can also do in physics and nuclear physics as well. So it has to be in the same field, but with the different streams as well. So either you can do in management or in economics or in law, or maybe in the combination of both as well. However, you cannot do in law and economics because they both are different streams and different fields.
All right. So
Yeah.
how is your experience with European stock market? Like you're working with them right now?
Yeah, of course, I'm working. It's a stock market. Of course, we don't work in a stock exchange because that's not allowed actually, unlike India, that you can directly go to the BSE and NSE and work inside the premises over there because you have to get a trade license in European stock market. Of course, that it's not expensive like India, but it's difficult, especially when you're not citizen there. So to get a license in European stock market, you have to have a citizenship there, and it takes 10 years to get it. So we work in a broker house. So the broker is an Israeli-based company. Is headquartered based in Cyprus and situated in Prague and London. And recently we opened an office in Australia, and we are also planning in Singapore and recently in Dubai as well. So the company actually, which is situated in Prague, actually we deal in the European stock market, and we cover mostly rich countries like Switzerland, Norway, Scandinavian countries, Central Europeans as well. We don't cover all the European countries because of the lack of monetary in and outflow in those markets like Romania. We don't cover Romania. We don't cover Malta as well, and Latvia and so on. So,
How is your life different from being in Delhi and then being in Prague?
totally different. I would say totally different. I mean, from the crossing of the street to the Indian food, everything is totally different here. Because I would say a domestic example that even if you cross the street in India, you have to look at both sides. Doesn't matter the traffic is coming from a single side. You have to look at both sides because you never know from where the car is coming. But in Europe, obviously, you have to just look at the direction from the where the traffic is coming though. That's a domestic example, but of course there are big cultural differences, and the differences of the professionals, the difference in sending an email, the difference of calling, how you communicate within the organization, the organizational chart, the hierarchy system, the communication levels, the systems, and the software which you use inside an organizations, and the most importantly is the organization environment. So this is one of the part of the research which I'm doing in my current studies, which is the management hierarchy and the management strategic organization as well. Because I mean, no offense to Indian organizations, but the same organization, for example, let's talk about Tata. It's a famous organization. We have recently Tata opened an office in Czech Republic in Prague as well for the IT consultants for the small TCS project. It's not a big building; it's a small setup by TCS. Same TCS, one of my friend work in TCS in Bangalore, and he said it's totally different environment than the same TCS working in Czech Republic and Europe branch as well. However, belong to the same company. So the work environment, the filing system, the software inside, and the CRM systems as well, everything changes to the different countries. Now, I worked not only in Czech Republic, I worked in Poland, I worked in Hungary as well, and I traveled more than 17, 18 countries so far in the last 4 years. And amongst these 4 years, actually, I worked and met with different peoples with different professional background, IT lawyers. I won't say chartered accountant company secretary because it doesn't exist in Europe. However, a similar profession exists actually, like lawyers and CMAs and CFAs as well. So the difference belongs to the people. The difference belongs inside the people. The difference actually belongs within the organization, that how we treat it. And this is the major and I would say a vague thing that what I see inside an organization, which is in India, doesn't matter is a partnership or is a company inside. So you take a small, tiny example of picking up the glass by yourself or ordering a glass of water from your peon or your filing systems or your software system. Everything is totally different out there, especially your culture system as well. And I believe somehow we have to do slightly bit of changes inside the organizations, especially when if the clients of company secretaries, chartered accountants, your companies are a little bit of foreigners. If you're touching the foreigner clients a little bit, you have to change your clientele, organizational and communication and software system as well, because they don't trust us. I have European friends. I have European clients as well. We've been talking to almost all over the world in the stock market on a daily basis. They don't trust Indians. When it comes to India, they don't trust us at all because it just lacks them that there's a security issue, there's security problems. Because it's not about we are not laborious. They know that what we can do and how the biggest the market is after China, but there's a problem in trust and confidence amongst the foreign clients. So if somebody is thinking we're going to explore and expand a field, so I mean, of course, we cannot cover up all those things inside a single webinar, but there are a lot of different changes which we have to do inside an organization which is situated in India. Yeah.
So what challenges you face? Like you have a total different cultural change from A to Z, and total work change. So what were the major challenges you felt, and do you still like do you want to come back to India, or you feel that your life is far better there and you want to explore furthermore in your writings and all?
Honestly speaking, Pratima, the world is big. It's a really big place. For the world, India is another country. I mean, you travel any country. I mean, let's not talk about if we say we are traveling foreign country, and whenever we say foreign, it also includes Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Obviously, we don't count Pakistan, Bangladesh, and neighboring countries as a foreign country. Whenever we talk about foreign country, we always talk about, okay, let's go to America and let's go to Europe and so. So, for Europeans, for Americans, India is a different world. I meet different people and I introduce myself. Where are you from? I said, hey, I'm from India. Ah, India. Nice place. I never noticed anybody who ever said, ah, you're from India. Okay, nice. No. Where are you from? I'm from India. Oh, nice. India. Namaste. Elephants, monkey. Every single time, more than 100 times, I introduce myself. At the back of their mind, it always comes with monkeys, yoga, elephants, Kerala, Goa, and Lord Shiva, and so on. I mean, nobody has talked about the Bangalore, the IT industry. Nobody has talked about the IS exam, one of the toughest exams in the world, on the sixth number. Nobody has talked about the Indian army, the one of the biggest army in the world. Everybody talk about the same domestic thing, which we had been famous for since thousands of years. Now, yes, we are rich with our heritage and a culture, and obviously we really should be proud of that thing. But obviously, I don't want to come back to India, and I have no further plans for this. Of course, exceptions are always there, because as I said, for foreigners, India is a different world. It's a third world, and world is a different, totally different cases and different place for Indians as well. And I must recommend for each and every professional that you must visit to a different world, like Europe. I'm talking about a different civilization. I won't say America because America is not a different civilization, though. I mean, a civilization developed like 2,000 years ago. That's nothing. The Khajuraho temple developed like 7,000 years ago. So to adapt ourselves with our different organization systems, software system, how they talk, how they eat, and how they sit and like walk on a street, and how they treat amongst themselves. Why the labor turnover in those organizations in European countries are totally different than the labor turnover over here. What are the systems of the interviews, what are the systems of hiring, what are the strategies and policies they are adopting in those partnerships and companies over there, why we cannot adopt those things over here. So these difference and strategic intercorporate systems has to be developed in India, and this is the things which actually makes me always worry about what in the case if I come back to India and I have to face all these things because over here, my boss might treat me not like an employee, but might be like a servant. So I don't want to be a part of this because that's going to be a snag, a totally unexpected thing, and always it's implausible. I would say it's totally not convincing for me. Any idea doesn't matter. It's regarding the pollution or population or corporate systems. Nothing actually motivates me to come back over here. So my plan is actually to sit back tight over here and do my research and develop myself. Whatever I have, publish my and research and papers. And yeah, this is my plan exactly. I have no plans to come back to India.
Okay. So let's start talk about your book now. Tell us more about the novel God's Island.
Yeah. Well, God's Island. It took me almost 3 years, 4 years, almost, to publish this novel because I was doing a research on this book. Now, let me tell you to all the viewers who are sitting with me right now, the non-faculties. This Gall Islands, the novel has been already published on the Kindle version and paperback. Paperback gonna be published like in the next couple of days because it might take time by Amazon. However, the Kindle version is already in the market. It might be available on .com of Amazon or .in of Amazon if you're in India. Uh, since I'm outside India, on a daily basis, in Czech Republic, the overall population of the country is less than the overall population of New Delhi. The total population of Czech Republic is 1.1 crore. That's all. It's finished. It's the population of the country. I mean, in Delhi, I think it's more than 10 crore, I believe. I don't know how much. So, how many Indians we have? As per Indian Embassy records, we have 5,000 Indians. And I know some of them because of different festivals and Republic Days and so on. I play cricket for Czech Republic team as well. So mostly what you do, whatever you do on a daily basis, you go to a restaurant, you go to a cafe coffee day, or you go to a gym, you walk on a street with your dog, whatever you do, you meet expats, you meet foreigners. When you meet foreigners, Europeans are very communicative, very communicative. You don't say namaste or hi to a stranger walking on a street. Of course, you don't do. Of course, I know because I never did as well. But if you're walking on a street in Europe and you just say hi, hello to a stranger, it's very common, it's very normal. And that's how the communication and the conversation starts.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is how I know most of the people from Syria, Afghanistan, Romania, Poland, Ukraine. I have friends almost from all around the world, different, as I said, professionals, lawyers, professionals, professors as well. So when we start communicating, they all slowly, steadily share their stories. In Czech Republic, in Prague, I also host an event, which is a language exchange event. So I'm like a bit of event organizer on a weekend time as a part of professional, whatever you say. And in that event, weekly basis, we have a crowd of almost 80 to 100 experts, like foreigners. Of course, to be different people, you understand different language, accents, culture, and the different systems. So that's how it all started in 2016. That understanding the different stories and listening to different, I would say, um, the life story, the real stories. So I linked all those stories into this book. I met people from Syria. I met people from Afghanistan. Afghanistan players also plays in our cricket team because there are a lot of Afghani players who were in Germany. They moved to Czech Republic a few years ago, since a decade. I met people from, we have a people from Ukraine and Romania, Poland, and so and so. So these life stories of refugees, the life stories of the intelligence and the police, how they actually cope up with the criminal activities and the refugee crisis. Because honestly, refugee crises are not at all in India. I mean, let's talk about Rohingya or Sri Lankan refugees back in South. but it barely exists. We don't call them refugees. We just call them immigrants. But in Europe, we call them refugees. And because immigrant word doesn't even really exist because a bit of racism back in Europe as well. So that's why I decided to connect all those stories into one book and mingle up with the fiction stories as well. So in this God Island, you will read about the refugee crisis. You read about the way of handling the refugee crisis, especially in Germany and in Poland. How people think about refugees, what they think about the immigrants, what is their mentality for the brown people like us. You go there, people don't call you Indians, they mostly call you brown people, and you don't have to be feel bad about it because that's true, that's fact, we are brown. Because for me, sometimes it happens that, hey, you're not from India. I said, no, I'm from India. But you cannot be from India. Why I cannot be from India? Because you're so fair. I mean, you don't look Indian. I would say, no, I'm from India. I mean, you have never traveled to India, I believe. You don't have any Indian friends. No, 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 I have Indian friends. They're from Bangalore. I said, oh, come on. Bangalore is not only India. I mean, India is a big country. And if you go to Kashmir, I mean, there are girls, they are beautiful people. I mean, they have even blue eye and green eyes and blonde hair like you as well. Oh my God, really? I never traveled to Ladakh or Kashmir, but what I know, because I'm working in SAP, and what they all daily talk about is our Indian friends are always like the dark brown and black people, not being a racist part, and especially when they talk to me and they say, hey, you're not from India because your accent is totally not Indian. You're not talking in a way that Indian accent has to be like. I said, no, this is totally an Indian accent and I'm talking in a simple way. But I'm from North India, obviously a different part of the country, you talk in different ways. So stereotype of mentalities they have in their mind about Indians as well. So this is an example of India, and in this book, I cover all those real stories about India, refugees, Middle East as well, and what they think and how they feel if the Middle Eastern is sitting on the same table and eating food, and how the Germans actually feel like them. So because we know since 1940s, after World War II, the Germans, there was like a Holocaust out there in Poland by Nazi army. So the differences, I also touched a part of that uh, horrible thing in the novel, the relevance part. Yeah. So what you will read in this book is mostly 60% is on based on a real story. And the wonderful part is I finished 85% of this book only in flight when I was flying from different countries because I couldn't get time because I'm working almost full time in the stock market. So when I'm traveling from one country to different country in a flight, you have like layovers, 8 hours, 10 hours traveling from Amsterdam to Norway and Norway to India and so on and so. 85% of this book I finished in flights, and I believe 15%, 20% I finished in this COVID-19, thanks to COVID-19.
How was COVID there? Like, how were the reaction towards and how was the treatment of government towards the expats?
You mean in Czech Republic or in overall Europe? I mean, I can say in Czech Republic,
Yes.
it's yeah, it's slightly increasing now. I mean, it's a small country. It's a very I would say it's a very small village of India, and it's finished. I mean, you need like 3 5 days to travel the most famous cities in Czech Republic, and you're done with that. So, a small country, people are educated, population is less, government is strict, government is regulated, of course, and the rules are better, and the sector is almost organized. So people are obeying and they're following the rules as well. So we actually fought very well, and we did very well with disappearance of the COVID-19. However, the government took a hasty decision in opening the bars and restaurants and the public events. However, the people criticized this step of the president, and they said, I mean, there was like no haste in opening the public events. And I don't know why the minister announced, okay, the public events would be only till 10 p.m. I mean, if somebody has to caught up with COVID-19, even after 10 p.m. or maybe before 10 p.m., it can be caught up. So there was like no big deal. And he said, no, the desk and the pubs can be open only till 10 p.m. I mean, why till 10 p.m.? The COVID-19 is not coming after 10 p.m. and it can be even before 10 p.m. It was a big deal. So, and that's the reason, I mean, they're slightly increasing now because they've been losing up. And I believe Czech Republic is ready for the upcoming lockdown. And I'm fine with that because my company is providing sometimes home office. And, but it's very strange and it's very uh, impeccable uh, problem for the people who are working on daily wages because mostly they are foreigners, waitresses, or like who are working on daily wages. It's totally different for them. I mean, they are no beggars here, but of course, people work on a daily wages, especially when you're a foreigner or expats and you're a freelancer, let's say. So the most people who are getting unemployed are foreigners, including Indians as well, who are working in hotels and restaurants. And I feel very bad about it. And the Indian embassy isn't doing anything, isn't doing anything for this.
So it seems that right from Delhi till Czech Republic, you have been through various zones. You have traveled a lot, and you have kind of followed your dream, even if it is research or stock market, and then writing the stories of people you met. So this is something like all youngsters would like to do. They would like to do something beyond what is the normal mindset of people. So what would be your suggestion towards current? Since you also have a lot of students, you would be best way of explaining it. What is your suggestion towards new generation who is coming up and who are looking out for various different type of corporate life or their life? They want to do something off the tracks.
Well, honestly speaking, my life has been versatile, and I'm not sure if it's going to be stop over here. Even if I become a PhD professor after this, I don't think I'm going to be stop over here because this is the way I am, and I am totally sure that there are a lot of people who are actually like this, like me. It's just about the zodiac sign. If you're Capricorn, you must be like this. So, uh, I would say if you're thinking, first of all, in most of the seminars, I remember when I used to give EDPs and SIP, there was a time there was like EDP and SIPs, and later on, maybe if they already changed the name, I'm not very much updated, though I'm a member still. And plus, also in MSOP programs, uh, in all of my sessions, in all of my seminars, one common thing I always picked up: explore your profession, explore your, like touchable things, out of the boundaries, out of the box. It just not only mean that you have to go out of India. I mean, even if you are sitting in India, like as practicing or as an employee or freelancer or whatever, I mean, you can still touch out of the box touchable things. You can still make foreign clients out here sitting in India as well. Look, Pratima, I'm a part-time photographer. One of my friend is a Canadian actor. He worked in many Hollywood movies, and I know him, and he recommended me to join some check advertisement as well, because they always need brown people, especially who looks like a Middle East facial cut and so and so. He asked me, okay, just go to the Czech film program sometimes, and they're gonna select you because of the Middle East cut you have, and you might be acting as a terrorist film or whatever. So I'm an event organizer. I play cricket for Czech Republic team. And there's actually a team. We had a Europe Cup last year, and Iceland took the cup as well. So I've been working in different things. I was a practicing company secretary. I delivered seminars, and I'm a visiting faculty in different universities over here as well. I'm doing research. I'm publishing my blogs. Sometimes I'm publishing my articles, not very much actively, but a bit of this, bit of that. So I would say to the youngsters that you must always have a backup plan. It's very important. There must always be a backup plan. Now, what are you doing in COVID-19? I must ask you this. I mean, all of the guests are, of course, they are mute, but they must be thinking in the back of their mind. If you are just started their practice, if you are sitting as an employee out there and your company is not providing you home office, so what exactly your plan is? What is COVID-19 is acting for you? So there must always be some passion, there must always be some hobbies, there must always be a backup plan through which you can generate money, which can be good for you to generate money. So for me, teaching and online teaching, giving webinars and giving online advices and acting as a freelancer is one of the has become the outburst for me. So for the youngsters and even for different age, I would say it is important that you must develop yourself for out of the box and out of you know the touchable things as well. Now, it worries me when we talk about the recognition. We're going to talk about this, I believe, in next couple of questions.
इनका ये
I hope. But recognition is an important part of your.
चलो बेस्ट है फिर तो
I'm sorry.
Just a second. I think somebody has unmuted. There, I'm just.
Somebody has a question. I don't know if somebody has a question already or not.
Just a second. I'll just unmute. I'll just mute them because it's pretty. Yeah, please. You can continue.
Yeah, I was just saying that it is important that you must have something at always at the back of mind and that can generate. Of course, you can be a painter, you can be a photographer, you can be anybody, but obviously those things might not be able to generate money for you in the case of crisis. So find yourself in a hobby, and obviously you all must have something at your end that can generate money for you in the situation when you need it, other than practice and other than employee as well. Because I remember one of the visiting member in my EDP, which was a long time ago, which you also could call as EDP, it was something else. Somebody told me that for the stress management, it's important for you to keep your passions and your hobbies alive. So this is my advice for everybody. Find yourself something which makes you easy and happy, and also at the same time you can use it for monetary advantage.
Thank you, Dave, for your time, and thank you for all the advice you have given. You have lived a versatile career actually, which very few of us do. We are well trained to be into a set practice which we do. बड़ा होना है, ये करना है, practice करना है, employment में जाना है, घर बनाना है, and that's all. But there are very few people who think out of the box, and there are very few people who keep on exploring like you have done. You have not explored one country, you have visited 12 countries, and writings, quotes, you name it, and you have it. We have few questions coming from the audience. Would you be comfortable taking them?
Totally, I'm good.
Yeah. So, Mr. Hemant, want to ask, what are the writing tips to begin a book? What made you, what are the major tips for writing a book?
Yeah. Mr. Hemant, if you don't mind, I just wanted to touch one important part actually, which I always wanted to mention in during my webinars, which I couldn't mention even before. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is regarding the recognition of completed degrees. Now, as I said, I was doing a PhD, so I was talking to the chairperson yesterday of Dubai. So there's nothing like company secretary, there's nothing like chartered accountants or cost accountants like in Europe. So maybe this question is one of the questions which is coming up. I just wanted to touch it even before. The degree is not acceptable. The degree is, the certificate is not, recognized in Europe. It is recognized in Australia, UK. Maybe if you pass on like certain exams and so on, maybe it's acceptable. for ICSI, obviously, if you pass some ICSI London and so on, obviously, you can be chartered secretary or company secretary in UK, Australia, and so on. But it's nothing like in Europe. Yes, we are coming up in a pipeline to recognize company secretary and chartered accountants in next 10 years, couple of decades. I understand that, but currently there's nothing like. However, the education is acceptable, which means in company secretary, chartered accountants, whatsoever, if you're studying this finance, if you're studying a law, the study is acceptable. So they understand that you studied corporate law. They understand that you studied criminal law or you studied finance. You tell them you're a company secretary, they don't know what it's all about. Because when I went for the PhD, and I told them, hey, I'm a company secretary. It's more than a qualification. It's more than everything else. It's more than master's degree as well. And I spent my almost 4 or 5 years in my life, and I want to get an admission in PhD. They said, what is company secretary? We don't know anything about it. Because as per the curriculum, they do not accept and they do not recognize it even as a bachelor's degree or even as a master's degree. So we stand in between or none of it. So when you move to a foreign country, it is important to get your degree, to get your certificate apostille notified. Apostilles get it done from the foreign country and notified has to be done over here. So notification and apostille has to be done together, and then only your certificate or your master's or your bachelor's degree has to be acceptable in Europe. It's not going to happen in if you are a company secretary, if we are a company secretary, it's not going to happen. And this is the reason I had to came back to India and do my double masters as an AMCOM from IGNOU. And then after it, I filed again for the PhD and I lost my couple of years only just because of this. So somebody, one of the renowned member told me yesterday, they are actually working on it to get the accreditation on company secretary courses in European countries slowly, steadily. And I'm very happy about it. But still at the same, this point of time, concurrently, there is nothing like this. So we were talking about the advisors a few minutes ago. So if somebody is thinking to get an additional degree in European countries or in Scandinavian or whatsoever, so my strong recommendation for them, if you have a master's degree, I would really appreciate it. If you do not have, if you're just a company secretary, I published one article, I think a couple of months ago, in which I, like I vomited all of my stress inside the article because I wasted my 2 years just because of this. And I would like to share that article. I don't know how to share it over here, but maybe I can send you an email and you can just CC to everybody. In that article, I mentioned that if you are a company secretary, what is your scope in Europe as a professional? So in that article, I also mentioned that if you're a company secretary, what additional courses you have to pass in Europe so you can, you can be qualified. So let's say you are a company secretary, you cannot pursue a PhD, but if you're a company secretary, yes, you can pursue LLM. Strange. Why? I don't know. So they are accepting you as a bachelor's of LLB, and you can get admitted into LLM, but you cannot get into admitted in PhD because PhD pre-requirement is a master's, and so CS is not master's. It took me half an hour for the university in Charles University for the coordinator to show him everything about the ICSI, the links on Wikipedia. Look, company secretary in this and that, acceptable in Australia, UK, and so and so. He said, okay, wonderful, but it's nothing in Czech Republic. So how can I see? How do I believe you that this degree is acceptable, this certificate acceptable? We don't know you are a bachelor's or you are a master. And I gave up. So in somebody asked about the article, the tips about articles. Look, I publish all of my articles on different blogs. Even the book, this novel, God Silent, based on research. I'm not the one actually who just got a dream and I'm going to publish it like a short story of 60 pages next day. No, I believe in research. So on a YouTube as well, I'm planning to publish short of a small video about the tips how to prepare your small articles to your big novel step by step. But if you're asking about the steps for the articles and blogs and books, I would say, first of all, you have got to do your best research about it. Secondly, you got to use the best vocabulary about it. Thirdly, you got to know about your audience, where you are going to publish this article or blog or book. For example, your audience is from Europe, your audience from UK, your audience from around the world. Then make sure you don't have those hurting words inside your articles and novels. I mean, that's going to be possible. Now, I can give you one example. I just wanted to use the word swastika inside my novel because it's an international selling novel. I couldn't use it because using the word swastika is totally banned in Poland and they're going to be handcuffed you. Raising a hand like this, for example, I'm just giving an example, very tiny example. Raising a hand like this, even if you mention this thing in your novel that you're going to raise your hand and calling somebody, hey, please come here. No, you're going to be handcuffed at the same point of time in Poland. It's totally banned in Germany and as well as in Poland. Because this hand, well, I'm just doing a dramatical case, this hand means like the salute to the Hitler. I mean, if you're watching movies and so on. So you cannot write anywhere in your novel or in your books uh, the concentration camp of Poland. Again, illegal. Imprisonment of 10 years, I believe. I don't remember. You have to call it the concentration camps of Germany, of Nazi. You cannot call. I mean, there was a big dispute about it. So they make sure who is reading, who are your readers, and is it professional article, is it professional blog, or it is just a random novel. So just make sure that you're using the right word, the right weightage, and not make sure that you're not losing your image.
So Hemant, there are 3 tips for you. You have to research, use your right words, and know your audience so that you
Yeah,
can
of course.
start writing from there.
And the
Yeah,
marketing,
thank you, Dave.
yeah, you're welcome. Marketing things never ends, Hemant. Because when you go with the novels, for example, there are two types of publishing. Either you go with the traditional publisher, you can go with the self-publishing. Now, traditional publishers are mostly not working these days because of COVID-19. So you must go with the self-publishing these days if you're planning to publish within next couple of weeks or months.
We have another question coming from Mr. Atul Mehta.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Hemant. Hi, Dave. Just listening you for last 40 minutes.
Yeah, I can see you, sir.
Your story looks like a Hindi film. You from one country to another country, and
Yeah.
looks very interesting. A couple of things. Of course, as Pratima said, you have gone beyond out of the box, kind of thinking, and probably visited all the countries. Now, see, I think most of us would like to do something, what you have done, but probably you had a courage and moved out and done this kind of the attempt, I would say.
Absolutely.
So now going out of the country, doing something abnormal, and doing a PhD or some further education in a countries, different countries. Of course, that requires some kind of a courage, and I appreciate that, because many few people think like this. And as Pratima said, probably we get into a normal thing like "Hamara makan banao, job le lo," and then your stories. I think I'm missing that heroine. So, do you find any heroine in any countries, or you're still looking for it? So that was
Well, I
probably.
mean, I'm not sure if this is your actual question or you
No,
must be
no, no.
asking something else.
No, I wanted to ask.
because
Yeah, please continue.
because honestly speaking, Mr. I mean, it looks very easy, looks very exciting, looks like happening for most of the people. That, oh, you're traveling different countries, you travel to 17 countries, or your house is beautiful, you're living a happy life, and you've been traveling around the world, and you have a lot of souvenirs. You buy cap and fridge magnets for your house whenever you travel to different countries, you meet different people, and so and so, and that's how you increase your network. But honestly, speaking, at the same point of time, when you talk about the domestic life, let's talk about uh, house, let's talk about your family, and so and so. So it at the same point of time, there's also a disadvantage because at a certain point of time, your family demands something from you, and your family asks you to settle down, which doesn't happen with the people like me. So there is always a plus and the minus side as well, because even if you have connections, but you're not settling down a certain place. You understand what I mean? Now, when you're not sitting down in a certain place, you're not sitting down in a single country or a single city, when and how your connections gonna help you someday, because you're not sitting at a same throne for a same period for a certain time. So this is the problem. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the family gonna come forward and they're gonna step forward and help you, which people like me, they don't have. So this is one of the disadvantage, and you are actually sitting on the right place, I believe. And yes, this is true, that everybody has to make connections from all around the world. As I said, Mr. Mehta, it's nothing about the age. It's nothing about if somebody's young or old. It's just about the life is long and the world is really a big place. And I believe is really going to be awful if somebody is spending the rest of the life. I mean, just my philosophy, without knowing the other side of the world, what's happening. And it get me a goosebump when I travel and I see totally different people, totally different cases, different culture. And I see, oh my God, how these people can do like this. I mean, in India, I cannot even imagine this. So I cannot like use examples in a short video, but I'm just telling you it is totally next to impossible for me, and I'm totally snagged. So yeah, I mean, traveling at different places is totally a different experience. Doesn't matter, sir, what the age of a person is and what the education background of the person is, but one must experience a different world at all.
Okay, Dev, now which country you are in now at the moment?
Sir, we are in Czech Republic. Yeah.
Czech Republic. So anyway, just to give you, I'll
Yeah.
take 2 minutes. See, as an ICSI, we tried, connecting with the various country,
Yeah.
and like in Dubai, with the help of the local chairpersons, Bhavna, I believe she's on the line. So we got our, syllabus, some accreditations or other, like, from some UK certifying agency where, they certified, look, this is a post-grad qualification. So probably now the challenges which you face, probably, going further, nobody, I mean, very few people will face that. Number one. Number two, Czech Republic, definitely, if you can help us, maybe I can connect you with ICSI. Anything, which is illegal, because company secretary profession is not been recognized, or very few country has those kind of the institute or the university where they have this kind of a course. And so, but still, ICSI will definitely will do something where people like you are resettling or going out of countries and looking for a job and all. We can help them. So I'll if you probably we can discuss it separately. I can connect with ICSI, and we can do it further. And yeah, so it was very good. I mean, the way you presented, as I said, it was looking like a Hindi story, and I am sure you must have faced a lot of challenges. And yeah, no, I think you are like an inspiration for other company secretaries. Yeah, Pratima, you can take over.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been
thank you, Dave. Thank you for being here. And thank you to all the participants.
Salish bhai wanted to ask something. Salish bhai, I think you are observing for a long, yeah. So we are very fortunate, we have a Salish Rajayadab, who was an ex-Tata
yeah,
Capital and L&T.
I can
And
see yes,
yeah.
it's my honor to meet you, sir, Mr. Salesh.
Well, Dave, it was nice listening to you. You are such a versatile person.
Thank you
There
very much.
aren't too many who have got such good high qualifications, still pursuing your PhD. At the same time, you're a photographer, you're a cricketer, you're a book writer. Not too many people are like this. At the same time, I was a little pained to hear that you would not like to come back to India at all. And you cited examples such as you were treated, that you may be treated as a servant and not as an employee. I have myself, you said,
Personalized.
huh? Okay, you might have been treated, but let me tell you, I have worked in about 8 or 9 companies in India, small, medium, big, large.
I don't know. Yeah.
And nowhere has this experience been there. Nowhere. Once you have got good qualifications, and even if you have got decently good qualifications, I think you are treated quite well in India. At
Yeah,
the same time, when you're abroad, and especially as you have described, that in the Czech Republic you are referred to as brown and not as Indian. I think this is highly discriminatory. Highly discriminatory. I would urge you to come back to India and contribute a lot to the growth of India.
So I would, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Salesh, but I just
Yes.
want to like argue in between. I mean, if somebody is calling someone, I mean, it's not only about Indians who is calling us brown people, but just to define the different colors as well. Same amount of time. I mean, even in my novel, if I'm mentioning a stranger, I mention a Middle East woman as a brown-skinned woman, and the brown skin doesn't only is not only for Indians, it's also for Middle East people as well. Now, let me tell you one. Let me cite you one example. Now, discrimination is what I understood in Europe. It's not only about color, sir. It's also about the caste. And no offense to anyone over here, no offense to any Indian in the country, but I believe that don't you think, Mr. Salesh, India is also one of the racist country in the world? I mean, they are racist amongst the colors. I mean, brown and black and brown. Okay, okay, I understand that the white, brown, and so and so. But don't you think we Indians are racist amongst our own brotherhood? Brahmin and I would say caste system and OBC and generals and so on. What is it? This is the caste system. This is discrimination. Sir, there must be somebody, a cleaner working at your home. Would you hug your cleaner in your house ever on the New Year or on Diwali while giving a gift? No, you would never say. I would never say because my mom would never allow me. But I have done this in Europe. But I've done this in different countries as well. So is discrimination, according to me, is not only about color. Discrimination is also about the caste system. And don't you think that if somebody is from Kashmir or somebody is from Punjab or let's say from North India, they somehow like have a like little bit of rivalry with the South Indians and vice versa. I mean, no offense, again the same point of time, but don't you think what I'm telling you is actually truth? That this man has a different hair, or the people actually talk different cases with the Northeasterns as well. The mob lynching. What happened with the mob lynching, sir? This is also racism that happened last year in Northeast with one of the Northeastern. So racism doesn't exist only in Europe or only in US. It also exists in India. It just like we don't accept it, we don't recognize it, but it actually happens. I mean, just because I am brown and I don't, but I might call other person as black just because I am brown, but I don't, I'm a Brahmin. I won't allow any other caste to enter inside my house just because he is a different caste. He is a cleaner or he is a gatekeeper or somebody else. This is a discrimination. This is also a racism. And coming back to your previous question, you said, I don't want to, you said, yes, I mentioned that I do not want to come back to India. And that was a personalized experience. I have no doubt that you must have worked in different companies throughout your life. But what I meant was different. What I meant was it's not about the hierarchy of the boss or employer as an employee or a servant. What I meant was the ego. When the ego comes amongst the employees and the employer and employees, that becomes a problem. And this is the thing which I've seen in Indian organizations, including my own organizations, including, I mean, even I have the ego as well, of course, when I used to work in India. But this is how, sir, the person develop because the difference of the culture. I mean, if I'm calling you not Mr. Let's say Mr. Hemant, or I wouldn't say Mr. Mehta. Let's say I just say, hey Mehta, or hey Santosh, or hey Vidhan, or hey Hemant. It's going to be hurting for you because it's a lack of respect. But the same thing happens in Europe. So nobody says, hey, you're not calling me sir, or you're not calling me boss, or risk giving me any respect kind of. So it's a difference of the culture and a difference of organizational hierarchy, I would say. So it's nothing like I don't want to come back to India. Of course, I would like to come back to India if the organizations are following the same culture which I'm expecting them to follow. Yeah, it's just about the ego issues between the employees. This is not my duty. I won't pick up the glass of water by myself. Why would I do that? This is a job of peon. Why would I do that? I'm not going to open the gate of by myself, getting out from the car. This is not my job. This is a job of gatekeeper. I'm not going to do that. Hey, bring this laptop for me. I'm your boss. This is an ego issue. This is not about acting or treating somebody like a servant. It's just about the ego issue that's actually coming in the relations, and which doesn't let anybody to focus on their own task, and which is resulting to as a labor turnover as well, the same point of time. And that's how the labor turnover is less in European companies. Even in the company is Indian company like TCS or Infosys, but even if those companies are situated in Czech Republic, I have noticed that the labor turnover is less because of the adaptation of the work culture of those countries, not Indian work culture. Because I'm doing research about it, so I can I can send you links of the research and send you some couple of articles if you want.
Sure. So, Dave, it's all your experience of last 15 years where you have been traveling and you have seen so many cultures and you have been through so many, interactions with so many people, officially, unofficially, at personal level, at professional level, and that's how the whole your perception is built up on that, which we really respect, because we sitting in India would be having a different perspective rather than you actually experiencing it and actually meeting it. So we are looking forward to read your book as soon as the paperback is available. I have seen it on amazon.in as well, so I'm definitely going to recommend all, since it is all the group of stories, true stories, with a pinch of, yeah, it's there, the pinch of all some fiction in it, which is really interesting, because I know the if you're writing about true stories, it becomes boring sometimes. But thank you for being here, and thank you for your tips to young professionals. What we learn from you is we should always be thinking of going beyond our comfort zone. We should always keep on trying, whether it is sports, physical fitness, photography, movie, writing. You have also practiced as a practicing company secretary. So you tried everything. And then you have set up your perception, which is really good, which is what aaj ka generation wants. So these are the learning from you. Definitely your tip for visiting a different world to change your perception is very, very important. So that's the tip what my son also tells me, that mom, this is not the world, I need to go out. So yeah, that is what aaj ka generation wants. And thank you. Just to all the audience, we would be putting the recording of this video on Mangalam website, which is mangalamjobs.com, and we are live right now on Facebook. So I would be sending you link also, Dave. And thank you for being here, and thank you for all. You have spoken from heart, you have spoken everything. So thank you for being so truthful, and thank you for being so straightforward. And let's connect later after the publication starts. Maybe we can have another round on your book, how the feedback is coming, probably. um,
Just yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but exactly, I just wanted to talk about especially about the accreditation of the company secretary, because as I just got some personal texts as well, like at the same point of time, that most of the people asking about how do we recognize company secretary, because I received text in my phone just same at the same time. How do we recognize company secretary? Hey, sir, I'm a company secretary, and can I go just back there in Europe or pursue some different degrees? So as I said and mentioned before, and that I published an article that if you're a company secretary, or if somebody is has studied a course in India, what is your scope as a company secretary in Europe, especially in Czech Republic, and what are the prerequisites you have to qualify those certifications if you want to become an advocate or a law professional in Czech Republic. So I would share that article with you as well, so you can distribute amongst the members and to get it done. And maybe I would send it to ICSI, so maybe if possible, they can publish it in Chartered Secretary as well. And just before I leave, I just wanted to give one handful tip to the youngsters, including everybody, of course. Since always been thinking and every renowned speaker always guide us for the same thing, that find yourself expertise or not only in company law but also in taxation, in finance, and in let's say in consumer law, in FEMA, and so and so. And there must be a lot of renowned persons sitting in front of us, Mr. Heyman, Mr. Tunheta with us, and so and so. And I would say yes, no doubt. You must have an expertise in the company law, of course, differently in FEMA, in taxation, in customs, in IPR, and so and so. But ultimately, where you're going? You're going to the practice, or you're going to the job. So either you're a practicing company secretary, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter you're a practicing company secretary and you're doing only taxation, you're handling only consumer cases, or you're handling only, let's say, like IPR or FAME and so and so. But ultimately, what are you? You are a company secretary in practice, or you are an employee. So there should be a third box. There should be a third box, which has to be a startup, which has to be something. So either you can be company secretary in practice, so you do not have to fight and you don't have to go through with a cutthroat competition with the youngsters coming in every 6 months, or you have to be an employee and find those companies and find those corporates whose turnover is more than the requirement to get into admission, obviously. And there is 10 years ago, there was minimum salary was 25,000. I still see sometime on LinkedIn, the still minimum salary for the company secretary is still 25,000. It's not even increased even 10%. Why? So there has to be a third box, which can be a LLP. It's one of the booming sector. It's really a booming sector, especially if you are running a law firm. I'm not saying company secretary in practice. This is a law firm. LPO requires a totally different case. And I was actually planning a few years ago, but it requires a bit of expenses, especially when you are in partnership with the different lawyers. It requires a team like KPMG and so and so. So LPO can be one of the sector. A startup can be one of the sector. I mean, so what I mean is there has to be a third box other than as an employee or other than as a company secretary in practice. In the third box, find yourself somewhere as a startup at an IT program, startup as a law firm, startup as an NRI program, or a startup as LPO. After Philippines, I think India is number 3 or number 2, I think, in LPO. And if somebody, the law professionals like me, who are sitting outside and cannot do anything because of language barrier, at least we can do something for the LPOs which are situated in India. You understand what I mean? So the best advantage for the LPOs are taking the clients from outside India, because the best thing, India has different time zones. So for India, the work gonna be 24 hours. And second biggest advantage, India has a weak currency. Yes, we can take advantage of weak currency, because if the dollar is expensive or pound is expensive and all of the work has to be done from outside, and we can do even a cheaper work. Okay, so I'm not going to do calculation, but I hope you understand what exactly I mean. So LPOs or the startups can be one of the third box, and you can include many others as well. So this can be an additional handful tip to the other people.
Thank you for your advice. Probably, yes, we have to think about the third box. This is what the current generation should do. Probably COVID have made them thought about it, but now they have to be quite active of doing it. So let's hope. And thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much.
We'll take it back.
Yeah. And compliments to Pratima also for organizing these programs. I think, she's taking initiative. So last, we had somebody from London, so the take was, Mumbai, or India to London, the company secretary journey. So probably, India to Czech Republic. So definitely they look forward to connect with you in the future. Thanks, Pratima, once again for this such a wonderful program. So Pratima is taking a lot of initiative, encouraging the youngster company secretaries. And she's trying to identify those company secretary which has done something out of the box, or probably got into a third box, as you rightly say. Thanks, Pratima. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dave. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Pratima. Have a nice day ahead to all of you.